world of 1916 was complex. Well, the world of 1945 was complex. The world of 2016 is intensely complex. You'll be dealing with terrorists. You'll be dealing with hybrid armies. You'll be dealing with little green men. You're going to be dealing with tribes. You'll be dealing with national leaders and local leaders. You'll be dealing with politics and economics. And you'll be dealing with direct fire and indirect fire. And you're going to be dealing with it all. And it's all going to be dealt with simultaneously.
Tell you what, it just never stops. The hits just keep on coming. And we're going to talk a little bit tonight about Gematria. And this is what Julie's been doing really the past shows, but it's to a point. Well, I guess all I can say is that every time we turn around, everything we look at, everything we pick up, every rock we look under, every bush we look behind, it's there. And the fact that it's so entrenched, so infected into our society and coming at us in an accelerate because it's actually increasing with the incidences, that they're obviously, the chess game is coming to an end. Checkmate. Otherwise, they're going to make their move. And I want to go into a little bit about that before I turn it over to Julie. Now, I want to remind everyone of who we are. Here we are in Tinfoil Hat Club. And we are people who serve Jesus Christ. And I'll just leave it at that. We are people who believe in it. And I myself have been doing this for now my 16th year. I've actually been unwillingly involved in this type of environment and behavior and only came to the understanding of it about 16 years ago and have chosen to stand against the wiles of the enemy. And in the stance that I've taken, I've learned real quickly who are my friends and who are my foes. And what I mean by that is that when we find out that whenever the bullets start flying, whenever the machetes and the axes start coming at you, you find out who your friends are and that you're not on the same page. If you are of a mindset and you get along with somebody, it isn't until danger comes that you find out that you're not on the same page, that you find out that you have different philosophies, different views of things. And so those who call themselves professing Christians, as I've noted before, you can go to any Bible study and everyone's got a different Bible, and so everyone walks away with a different point of view. And everyone says, well, that's the way it should. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. We should be like-minded. We should all be on the same page. A house divided cannot stand. And I'm telling you that the Illuminati, the New World Order, the Zionists, those who are the depths of Satan, have infiltrated the world to the point that the church itself is absolutely polluted. And if you don't believe me, then fine, because you continue in your behavior and you're about to find out what is going to happen. Now, when in our quest to bring the truth, because that's what we're trying to do, we're trying to reveal those things hidden, otherwise the occult, the Illuminati agenda, false doctrines, false teachers, those things that have been presented to us as truth are actually a lie. That's a psyop. Zionism, let me tell you what, if you don't understand what Zionism is, then you need to start doing your research. And again, with the exorcisms and /deliverances that Julie and I have been doing over the years, and the interrogation of demons and fallen angels, to find out the true nature of evil and how it is entrenched, ingrained, woven into our world, whether you're in the church or out of the church, it's in everything. And so there's a line drawn in the sand, and we make a decision who we're going to serve. You cannot have serve two masters. Now, demons, fallen angels, hybrids, reptilians, and clones are among us. It isn't just demons. It isn't just unclean spirits. It isn't just those things. There's a full attempt from the New World Order to come at us with everything they've got. Now, recently there have been, the false flags. Recently, Julie's going to be talking about a recent sacrifice, another 27 club. And, as I talked about before with Sandy Hook, Aurora, the recent Orlando issue, 9/11, it just means there's more to come with all the Gematria that Julie is going to bring to us. Now, the fact that it is so detailed and just 1, 2, 3 ABC, everything is this, it means to me in my spirit that they literally are ready to make their final move. As I mentioned, that last chess piece is about to be moved, and it's not going to be good. They're laughing, the old saying goes, they laugh all the way to the bank. They're going to be laughing with us going all the way to the FEMA camps. Now, Tuesday, tomorrow, I'm going to be doing an in-depth teaching on psychotronics, on those things of the technology through radio waves that have to do with chip implants, mind control. Now, I'm going to go in very deep detail. I'm making an attempt to scan anybody who's willing to be scanned, anyone who comes into my office for ministry, for deliverance. And I have also been asking if anyone's willing to send me their blood type. I'd like to know that because I believe there's a connection with that, with gang stalking. And the psychotronics method of mind control is part of gang stalking. Now that brings sickness. You hear voices, continual noises, like white noise as it's called, like waterfall, anything that is disruptive to your mind so you can't think. Experiencing a mental illness, okay? Otherwise, you become psychotic. Even sexual hypertension, those things that even can mimic rape are from all this. So, involuntary body issues. It's just terrible. And what does it really amount to? That it's crimes against humanity. Because you have to understand that as I'm going to be mentioning here, the DSM-4 and the DSM-5, which is the manual that psychologists use to determine a behavior in its classification, those things of a disorder of schizophrenia or whatever. This is how you classify. This is how you diagnose this. You have these certain symptoms, and therefore, through this book, is determined what's wrong with you. Well, they have painstakingly written into that new manual, the 4 and 5, that all the symptoms that are happening from the technologies, that they're diagnosing it as a mental disorder and not an environmental issue. So I want you to understand that a lot of people are being diagnosed and put on medications who are actually being violated by this technology. And you know what? This is absolutely, absolutely unacceptable. And so I'm going to do what I can to expose that. Now, at the same time, we need to understand that we are all responsible for our actions. Okay? Now, even when violated, how you respond back. Now, I say this because in reality, because of the Word of God, we have all been given the truth. Now, but yet, we reject it, which is in a form of an abomination, because Christ either did what he did or he didn't. And so in this, that we find that in the truth it sets us free. But yet, we reject it. Now, the power and authority that belongs to us, that has been given to us through Christ and those things, that we understand that we have a job to do. We have a responsibility. Too much is given, much is expected. Now, with the rejection of the truth, we find that it actually comes from the mainstream church, which is that of the lineage of the Babylonian system. Okay, now we're starting to see, and we're going to talk about that tonight, that even the Southern Baptists are donating money from your tithing. If you belong to that group, they're going to be building mosques. Okay, but you need to understand that the Muslim system is ingrained in the Masonic Lodge, and the Southern Baptists especially comes out of the Masonic lodges, Freemasonry. So what they're doing is now they're doing bait and switch. This is what they're doing, and so here you go. And that's why I'm saying that they're making their last move. And so, Julie, with all the information Julie's going to have tonight, it's going to be even more defining of that. Okay? So we need to understand that the New World Order is doing everything they can through every avenue to finish up these last days. Time's running out. They're on a time schedule. If you're out of the occult and you know this, you know that the days and the times are all very important, and there is a schedule. Now, again, this is all kept from those who are in the church, and so the church runs blind, having absolutely no idea that the enemy has surrounded us. The enemy is actually in our camp. We have spies. We have those divinators. We have those that are of destruction, that are doing destruction, that are doing everything they can to make sure that we fall. So we basically are faced with a full frontal attack, side and rear, above and below, okay? So it's coming from all angles. And so the point of it is whose side are you on? We need to remember in Revelation 11, God will destroy those who try to destroy the world. So if you're in cahoots, if you're supporting Zionism, if you're part of the Babylonian system, since you have been given the truth and you're supposed to search the scriptures daily, you're supposed to be wise as serpents, you're supposed to test the spirit, then as I mentioned, that we all have a responsibility. We're all held accountable for our actions. So I need you to understand that there will be a time that we face our Most High God, and we'll have to make an account of what's going on here. Whether you believe in Christ or not, believe me, there is judgment coming. So this information that Julie's going to bring is one more to inform us of the plan to deceive us. But it's in plain sight, just as the name implies here for the show, that is Gematria is a numbers game. Now I'm going to bring in Julie here, but I want to set the stage. More death and more sacrifice, okay, that we have, again, with this 27 club. She's going to get into that. But I want everyone to remember that around 1987, when the Berlin Wall came down, there were also those who defected. In fact, that was a big year for defectors coming out of Russia, out of the Soviet Union. And along with that were some ice skaters that came with them, brought with them a 6-month-old son. And that's where the story starts from there. And so, Julie, I'm going to turn it over to you to continue that. Go ahead.
First, I want to step back just a moment. I'm going to start with another killing to tie that one into this one, because this is all, it may not seem like it, but it's all tied together. And I wanted to also make sure everybody understood there's we do have one listener that I know of for sure that she emailed me several times today and said she would be listening. And she actually, I know, is doing some homework, because she sent me, when I was talking about Parker and 33, she sent me Peter Parker, Spider-Man. And Parker is, of course, 33 in Gematria, which is the highest order of, the Masons of 33. So she's doing homework. I'm very impressed with that, and I thank her for her emails, because it's nice to see that someone is actually jumping in there and doing that, and I commend her for that on the air, because I want her to know how important it is that she become informed, because you know what, Scott, when this girl is out doing this, she's listening to shows, she's looking stuff up, then, she said people are calling her crazy. I said, yeah, join the club. Well, but the thing is, there may be one or two people down the road that listen to her, but the more she learns, the more she can tell other people. And, there are people who may not believe in Jesus, but when you start showing them all these coincidences and all these, it's just over and over and over again, it starts to look like maybe it's not a coincidence. And I do know that it seems like a stretch for people And if you don't know this numbers game, the numbers can become mind-boggling. I mean, I don't just go into double and triple-digit numbers. I mess with numbers that are 6 numbers long. I mean, I go back into numbers that lead back 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. So when I read things, I'm looking at things that happened hundreds of years ago, or even things that happened 56 years ago. And that number, 56, is going to be very significant in some of the things that you're going to learn about the deceiver that calls himself a president. He's actually not human, and I can prove it through numbers that the man is not human. I mean, it all goes back, and I'm going to do a whole presentation on Akhenaten. I'm going straight back, and I'm going to show you where the man in the White House that says he's a president is actually numerically connected to Akhenaten, and he's a clone. His body's a clone. And there's another man that looks almost exactly like him, and Barack Obama is said to be the clone of that man. He was used, that man's DNA and Akhenaten's DNA was used to produce Obama. And he's not a human. You need to understand. Okay? They tinker around in the lab and they create somebody, and a demon or a reptilian walks into that person, and that's their body. He is, in fact, a reptilian. He is, in fact, not human. And he was made in a lab. Okay? Same thing with Princess Diana's children. Okay? We know who the father is. We know who the mother is, according to, well, Charles is not the father of either one of them, just so you guys know. He's not. Okay? But they were made in a test tube and implanted into her. That's how it works, because the percentage of the DNA as opposed to percentage of the reptilian has to be exact and precise so that they have just the right amount of each one. So that human body that they're making has to have reptilian characteristics so that the reptilian can utilize that body so that it can cloak them. See? That's how it works. So this is all, it seems complicated, and the numbers can be mind-boggling, but trust me when I tell you, even if I go back 100 years, 200 years, it all connects. What happened in Orlando was planned. You understand? It was planned. It was planned 500 years ago. I know this sounds extremely impossible, but what I've noticed about the general public is that you guys were so busy working and feeding your family and creating a life, which is exactly what God intended you to do. But here's the problem. Your institutions of learning are not the same institutions of learning that these globalists and all of Satan's offspring, okay, all these humans that he's created that are not quite human, you see, they go to a different school. That's why I know things that you don't know, because my education wasn't exactly the same as yours, because I was introduced into the school of the occult, into Gematria, into those things, learning these things and knowing these things, and it's a totally different school that these people go to, even a much higher level than people like me who were not born of any special royalty, okay? But the thing is that when they grow up, they know that the entire world is fake. They know that this is just a made-up matrix. They already know that. You're the one that doesn't get it. They know. And you could go to school your whole life with a person, go to some, all-girls prep school or wherever, and go to college, and you think you know her, but that girl is not human. She may look human, but she's not. Say, man, they always have so much money and their house is beautiful, or, oh, I know her. And what you don't know is that the education she's receiving at home in her other school It's all about the dark arts and all about what I'm telling you, and you'll never know. But when the masks are ripped off, okay, when the masks come off, and like I said, I'm going to lay my numbers at 50% of humanity, or 50% of what you see walking around is not human, okay? And what they do is they prepare sacrifices with people that, let me explain this. Christina Grimmie was named Christina Grimmie for a reason, okay? Not an accident. She was planned, and her name was chosen. There's a reason why William, because Princess Diana did not want to name him that. I am. That's why he's called that. I am. Who said I am? Jesus Christ and God the Father. All of this stuff, is their names are picked. The time they're conceived is picked. The time that they're born is picked. He had to be taken by a cesarean section because he had to be born on the summer solstice. Not an accident. It had to happen. So they were going to take by cesarean, or they're going to induce labor. They induced the labor to make her have him on that. He had to be born on that day. So I understand this is all planned. Now, if you can get your head around the all planned thing, we'll move on to some people who are part of the game. Okay? The names are chosen very carefully, and that's why I keep finding patterns in everything, because those names were chosen. Okay, I want to talk about doctors, okay? I want to give you 3 names, and I want you to think about the names, the sound of the names, and what does it bring to mind? Dr. Parrish, Dr. Carver, and Dr. Cheatham. Now, Dr. Parrish, Dr. Carver, and Dr. Cheatham. When you hear names like that, I want you to sit up and pay attention. These are doctors that deal with death, humans, carving people for surgery, cheating people out of their money, and they deal with people perishing. Understand, my friends, those names are chosen very carefully. Do you understand? These people are part of the entire matrix. But they just so happen to work at that hospital, and they just so, friends, 6 surgeons in Orlando were in the hospital. 6 surgeons were the ones that worked on the patients. There's that number 6 again. Out of those 6, the 2 that they actually allowed on camera were Dr. Parrish and Dr. Cheatham. Sandy Hook, the idiot doctor, remember the idiot doctor that couldn't even tell you what the kids were wearing or how they were dressed or what they looked like or where their injuries were or how many kids were killed, remember? And he was laughing and making jokes at the press conference. You know, the complete moron who wasn't actually a doctor that you guys believed was a doctor. He's not a doctor. He's supposed to be a person who does a coroner, who does the, works in the morgue. Okay? Please, don't insult my intelligence. I've known people that are coroners. That man's not a coroner. And what was his name? He's the coroner, and his name is Dr. Carver, and what does he do? Carves up bodies. You may think this is not relevant, but folks, I want to tell you this is what they do. It's mocking. Everything they do is to mock. Remember this man who was texting and Skyping and he was showing his private parts? Remember his name? Anthony Weiner? Remember that? That was a psyop. Do you understand? It was done on purpose. He purposely got known for that, and they purposely chose him because of the name. Then, when the wife comes into the courtroom, what do? It's not an accident. This stuff is all very calculated. The numbers. Think of some crazy names, and you'll see. And by the way, Scott, on the shooting, when I mentioned Friday about the special agent in charge, the STAC agent, I told you guys Friday I saw his name. His name was Paul Weisopow, and I went, that's not a real name. Well, the reason I said that is because I know how these guys are, and I know what they do. And that's very common, is to take some letters and jumble them up and make a name. So I took the SAC, Special Agent in Charge, Paul Weisopow, and as those letters were all laid out and rearranged, it spelled all you see was a psyop. Not one letter left over. All you see was a psyop. Now you tell me how that happened. You tell me. What are the chances that weird, fake, made-up-looking name, all spelled out, all you see was a psyop? I just don't think anyone can argue that that's kind of weird, okay? That's a very huge coincidence, okay? So people can say, well, I think some of it was real. Okay, well, they told you, and I told you, that spells out all you see was a psyop. You know what that means? In occult speak, no one died. No one was injured. You know where Omar Mateen is right now? Would you guys like to know? He's in another country having a life. He's been sent off over to another country. Now, I'm going to ask you guys to pay very close attention to the people that were involved in this. If you guys can go back and write some names down, and not the ones that we want people that were interviewed, okay, that were interviewed. Christopher Hansen, T.R. Parker, Angel Colon. Okay, go back and write these people's names down. And I want you to be very watching the news. Watch it carefully, my friends, because some of these people are going to meet a freak accident down the road, and they're going to be dead. Because that's what they do. You remember Sandy Hook? Isn't it coincidental that one of the women involved just so happened to be out with her family, like they do all the time, boating? They're big swimmers, skiers, boating, and she was swimming in the water. She was yanked into the water and never seen again. Excuse me? This is what happens. When you play with the devil, and you join him, and you take money from him to do these hoaxes, these crisis actors, and all this stuff, beware, because he will come calling. So the $10,000 or $100,000 or whatever you got for what you did, death will come calling, and you're going to go to hell. So anyone that's involved in this stuff, if you listen to this, I am telling you to get out. No amount of money is worth where you're going to go for deceiving the public. And what you've done is you have literally destroyed some people, because there are people who live for this kind of thing. They will be out there literally mourning and crying that this happened in their town and these poor people. And you put that person through all kinds of hell over nothing but lies. So I'm telling you, if you're ever involved in this, and you guys watch some of the names, okay? The chief surgeon, Michael Cheatham. Michael happens to equal 33. Dr. Parrish, Dr. Carver. Okay, make sure you keep an eye on these people, because I guarantee you, as Dr. Cheatham said, 27 patients altogether he had, and that he had treated, and 6 were critical. 27 and 6 is 33. This is when he's talking and being interviewed, okay? There were supposedly 49 victims. 4 times 9 is 36. That's 3 6s. And like I said, there were 6 surgeons, okay? On the back of one of the guys, they just so happened to catch this one guy out of the hundreds that were everywhere. This guy helping carry someone down the sidewalk the wrong way, okay? They were going toward the club and not away from it, okay? Had a pyramid on the back of his T-shirt, okay? Another guy, his name was Angel Colon. His gematria is 3 6s, 3 6s, and a 5, the number 5 of death. 3 6s, 3 6s. Get it? This is how they roll, y'all. And his first name, Angel, works out to 3. 3 and 3 6s and 3 6s. Now, Omar and Noor, his wife, were married in September 9/11. 2011. 9/11. Think that's a coincidence? Not. Okay? This victim, Angel Colon, was at a press conference. And they show him getting himself, they're moving him up to the chair, and they're helping him get to the table and the microphone. And he reaches out and he takes a cup into his hand. And as he goes to drink out of the straw, he throws up the goat head. Right there for the camera. Once the camera's on him, he throws up the goat head. So right there, devil horns. The very second the camera's on him, there he goes with the devil horns. Okay? Some people will never be convinced by anything that I say, because to them it's nothing but stupidity. But you know what? There's a lot of coincidences here. And here's the thing. They depend, this occult connections, all these occult people, that are more of them than you know, they depend on the sheep saying, that's just so stupid. That's just a bunch of coincidences. Oh, my God. This is so dumb. That's what they're counting on, you see, because they know if you listen, then you won't listen. Oh, that's stupid. Oh, I'm turning the channel. That's what they want you to do. All the while, they're behind your back laughing. Bill Clinton put out a book called My Life. I found it very odd that in this book, he talks about all these fabricated news stories. Did anybody bother to read his book, My Life? Because he elaborated and talked about fabricated news. He told us that that's what they do. In the book, he said it. Talked all about these fabricated news stories. But obviously, no one actually listened. Okay? And you see these people carrying a man with these bright orangish red shoes. Okay? Orange is the color of 33. Orange equals 33, Gematria. And isn't it funny that when they got past the camera crew, they put him down, and then one guy started dancing around, laughing for the camera, giving, big giant smiley faces to the camera. And this man who was so injured had a tourniquet around his right leg. He could not walk, and blood all on his jeans. Took off on foot. Scene was over. Action! Scene was over. They put him down, and they were all dancing around and took off on foot. If he was so wounded that he was bleeding and had a tourniquet on his leg, why is he running around all over the place on foot? And then later on, you'll see another newscast where the man with the red shoes, orange shoes, just so happens to be now across the road, and he's on the grass. There's nothing going on but the rent, baby. What's wrong with that man? Yet they put him down, and off they go. Guys walk, he's right on his feet, no problem. Okay, so I'm trying to explain to you that these are not accidents. Okay? They're not. 3 of these things that happened in Orlando. Okay? Grimmy, the last name Grimmy, is extremely symbolic and extremely satanic. It has so many meanings in Gematria. They're unbelievable. Let me tell you, she died, hear me now, Master Mason number, 9/11, 11, 9. Okay. She released her debut album. She appeared on The Voice music show, 2011. She came in third. Do you hear me? Third. She released her album June 11th, 6/11. 11. 11 being a Master Mason number, okay? And she died June 11th. Anybody find anything weird about that? Her birthday in Gematria is 3313. Get it? 3313. So I'm going to say the Mexican singer that was on The Voice in Mexico, Alejandro, by the way, his nickname was Hano, which is 1111. Alejandro also equals 11. So between his first name and his nickname, it's 11, 11, 11. That signifies the new world, eternity, the new heaven, the new fifth age. Get it? He was 45. 4 plus 5 is 9. 9 is another. 911, one of their occult master numbers. Okay. He was shot. You guys want to know? He was shot in the head, and I asked Scott, how many times do you think he was shot?
I answered 3.
There you go. And so I'm trying to show everybody that these are not accidents. They're not random. They're planned. You have to understand, these people are involved up to their eyeballs. This is not an accident. Her name was Grimmy. Do a word search and try to find that name. Tell me how many people across the world you can find with that name. Good luck. Planned. This is all planned. Did you know that one of the meanings of the name was actually Florida? Florida. How coincidental is that, you guys? So, you know, Scott, you can weigh in too, because I know even you were going, oh, I was reading you. I had written down some of the names or the meanings of some of these words, and even you were just like, wow.
Well, you know, as I mentioned before, that some of the stuff that I was uncovering too. Now, you remember, excuse me, when Obama's birth certificate was released and shown as a fake because it was actually the Adobe file instead of the document scanned, and then people could download it, and then they were able to take it apart and show that it was wrong or that it was not correct. Foodie was the one supposedly who went to Hawaii and recovered this and then posted it on the White House website. She then was killed on December 11th, 2013, by a freak plane accident. Now, we need to understand that when the recovery team got there, she was sitting up and was coherent and speaking, and then pronounced dead very shortly after that. Now, the 2 FBI agents that I talked about for Boston bombing, they were killed May 17th, and it just keeps going on and on and on. But you know, everything that you're telling us again is more confirmation. But it's at an extreme. I mean, it's absolutely insane. It's ridiculous, and yet they keep doing it. And so the time that they must have spent putting this together, you know, it must have taken a team of people, somebody in charge, you know, giving them an idea to research this and do the formulation. You'd think they'd get bored of it. You'd think that they'd get tired of it. But apparently it's so entrenched into the way they think that they really enjoy this, because it gets hard listening to it. But you know, everything that I'm looking here and all my research as you were talking and so forth, how do you deny it? When you run the numbers, the probability, there it is. I wanted to remind everyone that, you know, we're doing the shows on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for Tinfoil Hat Club, and then I'm doing mine on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So when I mentioned that I would be on the air tomorrow, remember that I'll be on Scott Hensler Network show, not this one, because we're doing the 2 shows just to keep that separate. You know, the other thing, Julie, just to throw something in, someone had sent us a video of an abortion doctor that was confronted by somebody that was, trying to set the record straight publicly by being there at the clinic and pronouncing that this was all, an abomination. And the abortion doctor who came out manifested and got in the face of the gentleman who was, trying to preach the truth. And it was amazing to show and listen, because the audio was going too, the amount of demonization within this doctor who literally said that he knew he would be judged. He knew that he was in error. The demons were saying this. He enjoyed what he was doing, and he was going to continue to do it. Well, I see the way that abortion doctor, the way he was manifesting, the very same behavior of the people who were doing this. And I mentioned Friday that again, that these are crimes against the people of the United States. These are terrorist acts, if you want to define it that way. These are unacceptable. There needs to be an accountability for those who are doing this, because what they're trying to do is destroy the basis of the United States by taking away our Constitution. And so those who are involved in this particular tactic, Luciferianism, the Illuminati, the New World Order, the Zionists, the globalists, whatever you want to call these people, they're very serious about what they do. And so what Julie's bringing out to us reveals to us how serious they are. Because I'm already burned out on this whole thing. But this just shows the point of how deep it all is, and that we've got more coming. There's no question about it. As I've said before, as surely as the sun will rise tomorrow, it'll happen again. And I mentioned 3 to you, Julie, and then you mentioned about the alligator attack with the child. So that came in 3s, and so there'll be another set of 3s. And then we had the death that was just released about the young man. Boy, here we go. So go ahead, Julie.
That's right. And the alligator hoax, I'll do more on that another time. Everything was with the cult of 777, by the way, on that one. Aleister Crowley 777. You might want to look that up. It's really interesting. Remember, they said a 2-year-old was attacked by an alligator. Now, I spent quite a bit of time of my life in Louisiana. I was sent there, and that was where I lived for quite some time, and bought a home, ski, up and down Pearl Bayou, ski in the bayou, all this stuff. And I have to tell you, alligators were in the water with us, but they wouldn't dare come up and down the bayou until a boat stopped, because they know better. And I used to walk the Tokyo Trail, and alligators are everywhere, but I'll tell you what, they see a human and they run like mad. They do not chase people down. Now, if you come across a mama gator with her eggs somewhere, you're going to get chased, okay? But as far as the rest of it goes, they don't attack people. That's the movies, you guys. I mean, I know guys that, one of my crazy cousins, wrestle with alligators. This is, they don't go around attacking people. They're very shy, and they're very inhibited, and they go off on their own. They're very quiet creatures, and they do not, we're skiing up and down the bayou, and they're in the water with us. You come off the skis, and you're floating out there. Not one alligator will try to come, because they know those boats are dangerous, so they don't even come across that bayou until the night comes and everybody's gone. But the point is that you never have people. Man, we had them on our golf course. I'm out walking the dogs on the golf course, and there's the gators. They see you, they run into the water. Okay? They don't come and attack people and go kill people and all of that. So that's just a whole, this alligator supposedly attacks a 2-year-old, and no one's around. Alligators do not attack a person or a dog or anything like that for any reason but food. That's it. Okay? They don't attack unless they're hungry. And so if that child was attacked, he would be nowhere found, because he'd be in the belly of a gator. They do not attack people and just wound them and then run away. That's not what alligators do. Go study up on gators. If they attack you, they're going to eat you. or get part of you. That's what they do. And this child was found with, where's all the wounds from the alligator? There's not all these wounds all over this kid. And they found him, and he was supposedly attacked by an alligator, but didn't tear any part of him to eat him or anything. Hey, that's totally not true. And how they think that people in Florida are going to buy that when everybody down there in Alabama and Louisiana, they all know alligators don't behave like that. But the masses that don't live around alligators and don't know how they behave, we got them here in Texas, all right? That's not what they do. So then I look at a shot, and they were very careful to shoot a bridge, red bridge, as in blood. They shot the red bridge, and wouldn't you know that one bridge they shot in this short bit of footage and focused on it for a good minute or two had 777 built into the bridge. I couldn't believe it. I knew immediately then, this is, an alligator would have ate that kid, didn't do anything, didn't tear off a limb or anything, and then they as soon as they're done, they throw up the 777. Then it's not bad enough that the chief of the police is on there talking with a pentagram tie tack on the tie. And by the way, all of those department people, all of the officers wear pentagrams as tie tacks. All of them, because I saw. Okay, and they also do it with the upside down pentagram. Now you tell me, folks, how is it these people are wearing pentagrams on their tie tacks? All right. So, and then while he's talking, he does the pyramid with his hands, and throws up some hand signs. So immediately you're like, here we go, another host. So that's three. Número tres in Orlando. Now you have the guy in Mexico from The Voice, okay, and Alejandro, he's killed, and then right after Christina Grimmie from The Voice, Alejandro was actually on The Voice and competed on the Mexican Voice in 2011, and his name, both Alejandro and his nickname Tano, equals 11. So he was on in 11, in the 2011, and his name equals 1111. So there you are, my friend, 111111. So now you have two. So be looking for another one. Now we have another kid. Now, Scott, you knew more about this than I did as far as who this kid was. Thank you, because I did not. I just knew that they were from Russia, Leningrad or whatever. But if anybody out there, I know we probably have the movie, but I just don't like watching those movies. But if you've seen the movie Terminator, Salvation, can anybody give me like a synopsis? Call me, email me about that movie. Anything that you see that's unusual in there, the plot of it. I don't even know what the plot is, but I have a feeling that's where the Holy Spirit's leading me, is to watch that movie or to get the gist of that movie, Scott. So I'm going to have to see if I know where I can get it or something, because this kid was in that movie as a kid, and then he's also, his latest film is due to come out, and I need you to hear me, another Master Mason number, folks, 22, July 22nd. And 7 is another, like I said, Aleister Crowley told us 777. It's another number, master number, another Masonic number that they use. So 22nd, it's called Star Trek, I think Beyond is all it is, Beyond. So if you guys are Trekkies or you were going to go see that, I want you to all be watching. And I want you to pay attention to every scene. Now, they hide stuff in every Scott. Maybe you should talk about that, too, because you're the one that goes to the movies all the time, about what you've been noticing.
Well, it isn't just something once in a while that pops up, something in the background. It's literally one scene to the next. As I'm taking notes, I can't keep up with it. The Masonic symbols, the pyramids, the goat heads, all the numbers and everything. I mean, they obviously they're spending more time and money just to get those things in, and you know, it's interesting too, the characters, but the words that they say. When you now that you know and you're listening, you see that there's a double message in everything they say. It always refers to it. You know, you were mentioning about this young man who's you know, lost his life. His parents, as I mentioned earlier, the Berlin Wall. That at the same time there were a lot of people who were defecting out of the Soviet Union, and that was in 1989. And I remember it, and Julie, when you said it, I recalled it because I can remember the controversy over whether they were going to be allowed, you know, to be exiled or not, you know, to come in. And I can remember the video of the parents, the ice skaters, how concerned the woman looked on her face. There was something odd about it. It was that many years ago, and here I remembered it out of nowhere. This particular scene where she looked like she had made a decision, and even though that would be stressful, there's no question about that, it looked like there was something else going on, and that always stuck with me. And so we then now have to question, and of course the numbers you're running show that in reality that most likely that he was a sacrifice, that in order for them to have something they had to give it up. The times, the dates, you know, we look at all the actors that have recently died, and all the numbers correlate with what you're talking about. So, you know, how can we deny it? How can we say anything other? And it's a shame. It's terrible. You know, our goal is to make disciples of all men, to bring the truth to everybody. And it's a shame that anyone loses a life for this particular, you know, this particular group of people that are trying to rule the world. It just, it saddens me. It really does. Go ahead, Julie.
Yeah, and you know, Scott will call me when he'll go see a movie, and he'll call me and he'll say, because I'm always waiting to hear what did they show in this one, and usually, you know, 20 years ago, 15, whatever, you know, you could see a movie and they would definitely have symbolism in a lot of the movie, but Scott says it's like every scene now. There's just something in every scene. And and he tells me some of the stuff that he sees and the scenarios and the symbols and what have you, and it's just absolutely phenomenal how much they've added to these movies. And one of the things, you mentioned the number 17 earlier, and I'm going to talk about that number. That's another prime number that is not divisible by anything. Okay, it's one of those master numbers that you can't, you know, not divisible. So they pick these certain numbers, and there's a long reason why, and it takes forever to explain it. But as far as how this stuff works, but I'm going to give you a little bit about the number 27. Because a lot of people don't understand why these actors and actresses they say 27. Now, I do want to say something. I'm not trying to burn anybody's sacred cow, run over your golden goose. But you need to understand something. A lot of people will swear up and down so-and-so was a Christian. Oh, no, he got saved before he died. Oh, no, he. Oh, yeah. Okay, look, you weren't there and you don't know. Before anybody starts writing me that they know that this guy that got killed when he was 27 got saved, or this girl got born again, let me explain something to you. By the time they decide to take the 27-year-old out, you need to understand they have committed every blasphemous act against God that they could, times a million. You see, Lucifer doesn't take them out until they have so burned their bridge with God. Do you understand that? So they have drank the blood of many children, sacrificed people. Do you understand? He's going to make sure that they seal their fate. I'm going to tell you something else. They sell their soul. I don't want to hear anybody tell me that's not true, because you're wrong. You didn't walk in that world. You don't know. You want to be famous now, you have to be a first level witch or above. That's the first requirement. And you're going to sell your soul, but you're not going to be anybody. That's the way it works. Okay? And I don't care if they're Christian singers. There is no such thing as a Christian singer. They don't exist. Unless they're singing in some little nursing home somewhere and nobody knows who they are, and they love Jesus. If there's somebody on the scene, they sold out. Hillsong, their whole stage is 3 pyramids with an all-seeing eye. Hello. They throwing up the diamonds and the goat head all the time. Hello. So don't even go down that road. I don't even want to hear it. Anybody that has been killed in the 27 Club, they're not saved. You don't just go, oh, well, at the last minute, I'm going to call on Jesus. They don't know there's a last minute. You understand? They don't see it coming. Whenever Lucifer takes these people out, he's given them everything. They're at the height of their career. They're very popular. The world is theirs. They got it by the tail. They are hailed in the media. They are hailed as an actor or singer. That's when he does it. Because he wants to make sure if they're down and out and they're having a bad life, they might call on God. They just might call on God. So he makes sure that they're riding high on the wind when it's done. Clear that up because you hear people say that all the time, and I just got news. I'm sure that people have heard of the 27 Forever Club. There are members of the 2700 Club, of the 27 Club, and I'm going to tell you some of the gematria and how this works. 666 plus 666 plus 666 equals 1998, and 1998 equals 27. Do you understand? That's how that works. Okay? It's the reduced 27, the reduced value of 666 land. This is not an accident. You understand? 27 is called the Trinity of Trinities. It's 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 9. 3 times 3 equals 9. 3 times 9 equals 27. In the Kabbalah, there are 27 letters, and they're corresponding to 27 channels of communication with their God, and 27 combinations of the names of their God. 13 are overt, and 14 are covert. Okay? Do you remember I told you there's a language that you learn that you people don't know? So I say I saw you at the market last week, and you think that I'm just telling this girl I saw her at the market? No. I saw her at a ritual. Okay? That's how that works. It's 27 days for a human cell to regrow. It's also rooted in that. There's 27 signs in the zodiac in Indian astrology. Do you think it's a coincidence that an American attack aircraft was named the A-27? How about the 27th state of the USA is Florida? The total number of letters in the Hebrew alphabet is 22 regular letters and 5 final consonants. Okay? Ever anybody that smokes that cigarette, Marlboro Blend number 27? See? The number of